name is Andrew Cooper. I'm the executive chef at Four Seasons Rancho Encantado here in Santa Fe, and today I'm taking my team down to the Old Windmill Dairy Goat Farm in Albuquerque. We want to see where our cheese originates from, so we're going to go directly to the farm, see the owners, and meet them, and get to see the goats and see where everything comes from. And it's going to be an amazing day. For me, knowing where the product comes from is what it's all about. So for my cooks, they can easily open up a can of goat cheese or a bag of goat cheese and say, okay, this is what we're going to be using. But there's no love behind that. And from our guest point of view, our guests want to know where our food is coming from as well. Especially now with Monsanto's, GMOs, GEOs. We really want to know where our food comes from. So that's why we're going down to the Old Windmill Dairy Goat Farm. So when we go down there, we're going to hear what the owners have to say, why they chose to pick a goat farm there. And then we're going to get to see how it's milked. We're going to see the whole process behind the goats and how the milking process, then go into the cheese room, see how the cheese is produced, and then from there we're going to take those products, come back to my kitchen where we're going to cook it up. So we're going to cook up several different things using their products, and then from there what we're going to do is see the guest point of view, from a server standpoint, what the servers could use, what the servers could accompany with, how they could tell the story. Because for me, it's all about the story, where it comes from, where it originated, how it got to your plate, and then just the love of food. That's where the passion comes in. So join me today on a little culinary adventure tour at the Old Windmill Dairy Goat Farm. Come along. Down to the Old Windmill Dairy Goat Farm. I'm here with Michael, who's the owner of the property, and now is where we really get to find out where the cheese comes from. So I want to introduce Michael to you, and just if you could just tell us a little bit about the cheese, your farm, how it comes, everything about this.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you for coming down. I love sharing this stuff. We are located in central New Mexico. We're about an hour outside of Albuquerque and about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours south of Santa Fe. We picked this location because we're in a prime agricultural area in this little valley that we're in. All of my feed for my animals are grown within a 2-mile radius.
So how'd you choose goats?
Well, my partner Ed decided that goats would be better than alfalfa farming. And I came home one afternoon and I had the ad in my hand. I said, look, here is an alfalfa farm and I want to buy it. And neither one of us have ever farmed. He's like, that might be a little difficult. So his grandparents back in the mid-70s to late 70s had a small farm in 29 Palms, California, where they did goat milk and goat cheeses. And he started thinking, he goes, the goat thing might be the way to go. You've got your animals, you're going to be outside, we can make a product. So he contacted his grandparents, kind of did a little bit of research, kind of to see what it kind of took. Right. In the meantime, I start looking at different goats, different animals, or breeds of goats, I should say, and we came up with the Nubian. So for cheese, you want the yield to be there at your end product. So by using the Nubian goat milk with a higher butter fat, we end up getting a higher yield. So went out and bought 2 Nubians. One came to us pregnant. The other one I thought was pregnant ended up just being fat. About 6 months later, we had babies. I started milking. We just slowly started building our herd. Once we had those 2 goats, I really knew this is what I wanted. I continued to buy more goats, add more to the herd, learned about the whole milking process, learned about herd health, how to take care of them, how to feed them, what to feed them, all those things that I had no clue about.
And what are you feeding them now?
Right now we have them on a grain ration and we have them on alfalfa.
Okay.
They will occasionally get a little bit of oat hay right now because they're pregnant. So we take them off of all the higher protein foods when they're not milking. When they're milking, they need the higher protein. When they're having babies and they're in their full milk cycle, then we give them a higher starch, a higher caloric, and a higher protein diet.
Okay.
Because their body's just really running and they're putting all that energy back into milk. And about 2 weeks before they kid, we're going to put them back on a higher protein alfalfa. Okay. Start with their grain again, and then get them going on that.
So you went from 2 goats to how many do you have now?
We did, now I have over 200.
Fantastic. Will we be able to see the milking process today?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so now Michael's taking us into the milking room. So Michael, what do we do from here?
From here, this is kind of the starting point of where all the cheese making begins.
Okay.
Because this is the milking room. You have to have milk to make cheese.
Correct.
So at our farm, we milk the goats on our farm and use that milk in our cheese. There are some farms that will buy milk off farm and bring in to their creamery. We tend to do everything here on our own farm. Kind of helps us monitor what we're doing. So what I've done is I've done as we refer to them, a load of goats. Our milking stand here will hold up to 7.
Okay.
And what we do is we bring them in, we put them in the stanchion here, and we feed them their grain and their minerals and whatnot while they're getting milk. We have chose here at this farm to use a bucket milker. We use the bucket milker. It's a little less expensive to get into,
Okay.
and it's a little easier to use for my staff. So then each bucket here will milk 2 goats at a time.
Okay.
And then what this does is it'll pull all the milk down through here, through this hose here. This is my milk tube, and then it goes into the bucket. This machine is a little bit more manually operated than some, but we have manual stops, which will stop the vacuum.
Okay.
Just make sure they're on, and then come right over here, and without anything falling in here, you want to connect it to the goat, and then it'll be connected like this, and then the flow of milk will start.
Wow.
And then you see those pulsators, they'll just kind of start gently massaging their teat, and you can watch the udder, when the udder will start to deflate like a balloon.
Right.
And then once the flow of milk stops, then we just turn these off.
So then with all that milk, how much milk do you actually get on a good?
On a good day, we can get somewhere between 65 and 70 gallons.
Wow. And out of that, how much is made from cheese?
When we're making our chav, if we did a 50-gallon batch of chav, we will end up with about 120 to 140 pounds of cheese.
Wow.
We process, during the summer, we will process milk every day.
Okay.
During our high season, when we're bringing in that 60 gallons a day, we process every day of the week.
Wow.
And we're making a cheddar, the Gouda, the feta. We'll be making the chev, and the brie and the other stuff that we have. So, and to keep up with our demand, we have to do it every day.
Incredible.
And it keeps a fresh product out there.
Excellent. So can we see how it's made?
Absolutely.
All right.
I'd love to.
All right, let's go. All right, so now that we saw the goats in the field, we saw the goats being milked, and what's this room we're in now?
This is technically called the creamery. We often refer to it as the kitchen or the cheese room. By specifications, it's a creamery because that's where the cheese is made. This tank right here that we're looking at in front of us, this was made back in 1965. It was made by a company up in Canada. It's very old school. Nowadays, you get a bulk tank, and it will be lined with Freon tubes to chill your milk. What happens is that Freon can actually freeze the milk. And if the milk freezes, you have to throw it away because it doesn't make cheese. This one here is just a water tank. It's got a water jacket in here, and you felt how cold it was. The water circulating through here is about 32, 33 degrees. So that's cold. Yeah, and it keeps the milk cold too. But it just circulates water, you can kind of hear it. Yeah, it's neat. It's just an old school type of piece of equipment. I really like it.
What is this machine over here?
This little machine right here is a down payment on a house, or also known as a pasteurizer. This is a 50-gallon pasteurizer. It was made in Canada. And what it does is it will heat the milk up to pasteurization temperature, and then
What temperature is that about?
for us it's 145 to 147. By
Okay.
law it has to be 145 for 30 minutes. And then we cool it off, and how we cool it off is we run water through this jacket. Right here, you step in front here. Right here, this is a double wall jacket.
Okay.
So on the outside, there's nothing here, so this stays cool. On the inside here is like a water bath. It's like a double boiler.
Okay.
And it's on the bottom and the sides. And we circulate water through here at 185 degrees. and it brings that milk temperature up to the 145, 147. Right. This is a 135-gallon pasteurizer that we use as a pasteurizer cheese vat. It'll do the same thing here, but just in a larger scale.
Okay. And what are we going to make from this?
This right here is Gouda. We're going to make a cow milk Gouda. And right now we are at, I'm gonna back up just a minute. Gouda is a washed curd cheese, meaning we pull the whey off, and then when we pull the whey off, then we add water back in, and we cook it. With a cheddar, we leave it in its existing whey, and we just heat it up. But what we're doing is we're washing it, so we're diluting the amount of the whey that comes in contact with the curd, which will definitely change the pH of it. Okay. So that's the point of doing this. It'll change your pH. So what we're going to do is we're going to drain off some of this whey, and then Miles is going to come over here. I'm going to have him work on this. Do you want me to turn this off so it can settle?
Yeah.
And this is the whey. Yes. This is the whey. So you've heard of curds and whey? Oh, this is curds and whey. And then this is what it looks like right now. Wow. And as we remove more whey and add some hot water to it, and we bring up the temperature and continue to stir it, it's going to change the texture of this. And then what will happen is, you can see it's not forming into a mass. The cooking of it is going to help it start to stick together.
Bind it together.
Yeah.
Melt it together.
Yeah. And then, yeah, this is all it is. If you want to feel this.
Yeah. It's almost like silken tofu, like the real soft tofu.
Okay. Yeah. Taste it. It has like, you should probably not be able to taste the milk in it, really.
No.
Yeah. There's no salt at this point. What this is just culture and culture and milk. A little bit of rennet. So, if you want to see where we age these guys, I'd like to take you out there and show you some of our refrigeration and aging areas. Okay, come on. This is our breeze, our cow milk breeze, and this one here is a Cambresola. And this is where they live until we sell them.
And how long is it aged for?
This one here was done on the 15th of January.
Okay.
So we like to sell them within 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
This is what they look like when they're ready to go out for sale. We wax them, we put the label on them, they've got their date on them. This is actually going to a winery in Albuquerque today. So this is ready to go.
Fantastic.
So this is the finished product of what you see. When we sell it
to finish.
At farmers markets, we'll slice them down into wedges or even smaller things like this size here. Good job.
Fantastic. What an amazing day today. We got to go visit the Old Windmill Dairy Goat Farm down in Albuquerque, and we got to see where our cheese comes from. What's so exciting from a cook's point of view, from my point of view, and from a guest's point of view, is to know exactly where your food comes from. This day and age with Monsanto's, GMOs, GEOs, organic, it's so important and it's so critical for a cook to know exactly where our food comes from. So we wanted to go right to the source, and that's what we did today. So I got to take my cook, Miss Jackie, and the front of the house server, Raquel. So we all got to see what it's like. And they got to see firsthand from the owner's point of view, and from the rancher's point of view, and from the farmer's point of view, what it's all about and how it starts and where it originates. We got to pet the goats, we got to feed the goats, we got to milk the goats, and then we got to see how the whole pasteurization went on. And then from there we got to see the curds and the whey and what they do with it and how they're sustainable and how their practices are helping everyone else out. So now it comes to us, the cook, the back of the house professional. What can we do with that basic cheese? The Gouda cheese, the KVH goat, the green chili chef, the white chocolate and raspberry chef, the plain chef, and we do all these different applications with us. And what's so exciting is, yes, you can do a basic cheese plate, but we can get more creative. And as Jackie came up and created, she decided she wanted to do a beet and goat cheese turkey. So she took the local beets with the chef, made a nice tureen out of it, and then just infuse some citrus and some lettuce. So simple yet so creative. Great cut, right? And in addition to that, croutons. Who would have thought goat cheese croutons would add such an enhancement to a salad? But not only is it just for salad or first courses or a cheese plate, goat cheese ice cream. And then we take winter squash and goat cheese and make a cheesecake out of it. So there's so many different applications that we can do with it in the kitchen. But just seeing where it comes from, that's what it's all about. So anyone can open up a tub of goat cheese and say, okay, here's what we're going to be doing. But once you have the fresh goat cheese right from the source, you get to have flashbacks of everything, where it comes from. You get to remember the goats. You're petting the goats, feeding the goats, pushing the goats out of the way, herding the goats up into the milking area. I mean, the stories that go back into it, so it's more than just opening up a tub of cheese and saying, okay, here's where we go. It's the love of food, and that's where all the passion comes through. That's where the tender love and care, that's where the excitement comes from. Everyone comes in, they love to cook, but when you know where the food comes from and you know what to do with it, that's when it becomes even more exciting. So, the Terra restaurant is all of the Old Nigerian Goat Farm cheeses on our menu. And then we do several different applications with it as well. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the dining room and talk to the guests and see what they say as well. And so that way, Michaela can share some stories about her experience and just share the love of food. Come join me.
Good evening. Here is our Old Nigerian Dairy Farm goat cheese plate. Right here we have the chef goat cheese, smoked Gouda, stout goat cheese, and we have our smoked Gouda cheese with a little bit of chili jam and some cream seeds.
That's great. Have you ever been to the?
I have, in fact. It's amazing. We drive up and we're greeted by the owner, Michael. He's surrounded by all of the goats, and it's a great time for everybody. We get to roll around with the goats, milk the goats, talk to Michael, talk to him about the services,